corners of Kansas, hidden deep in the eerie silence of Stoll Cemetery, lies a dark secret, one that should never be sought but forever lingers. The legend speaks of an ancient, crumbling church that once stood here, now reduced to rubble, its remnants buried beneath the weight of time and neglect. But beneath the wreckage, something far more sinister still endures, a set of stairs that lead into the earth, hidden from view, yet said to open into the very depths of hell. Every year, on Halloween night and the spring equinox, the veil between this world and the next grows thin, and the gates of hell are said to crack open. It is on these cursed nights that the stairs, once part of the old church, are said to reveal their true purpose, serving as a direct passage to the other side. Those who venture too close report an unnatural cold, a weight in the air that presses down on their chest, and an oppressive silence that seems to swallow all sound. The stories are chilling. Some claim to have seen shadows move at the edge of their vision, whispers from unseen voices calling them forward, urging them to descend. But none are foolish enough to go further. Many who have dared to approach speak of the heavy, suffocating presence that lingers near the steps, a force that watches from the dark. And though the church is long gone, the legend persists. For in the dead of night, when the moon is hidden and the air turns thick with dread, the stairs to hell are said to open, waiting for those who are brave or cursed enough to glimpse what lies beyond. But be warned, once you look into that darkness, it might never let you go. In the shadowed realms of rural lore, where the line between jest and truth blurs, the legend of cow tipping haunts the fields and farmyards. Said to be a moonlit escapade for thrill-seeking youths, this bizarre activity involves the stealthy approach towards an unsuspecting cow, fast asleep standing upright in the darkness, and the sudden, forceful shove to topple the massive beast over for mere sport. But beyond the surface of this seemingly harmless prank lies a more chilling narrative, whispered among those who know the countryside's true face after dark. As the legend goes, in a secluded farming community, enveloped by the embrace of ancient woods and forgotten roads, cow tipping became more than just a reckless pastime. It morphed into a ritual of fear. The teens of this town, driven by boredom and the intoxicating rush of defiance, would venture out into the fields under the guise of night, their laughter slicing through the silence like a cold wind. But there was one night that turned their mischievous jaunt into a nightmare. As the group approached a familiar pasture, the moon hung low and ominous, bathing everything in a ghostly silver hue. The cows stood like monolithic statues in the mist, their breath forming clouds in the crisp air. Emboldened by the eerie night, the teens singled out a large, shadowy figure at the edge of the field. With a mix of exhilaration and alcohol-fueled bravado, they crept up to the sleeping cow. However, as they laid their hands on the creature, ready to push, the cow did not budge. Instead, it slowly turned its head, revealing not the docile eyes of a farm animal, but the glowing red orbs of a creature from deeper shadows, erupted as the creature chased them through the fields, its form blurring between beast and spectre, its bellows a grotesque parody of bovine grunts mixed with something far older and angrier. The youth scattered, screaming into the night, forever marked by the terror of what they had provoked. Those who returned spoke little of the incident, their eyes haunted by the memory. The story spread, a cautionary tale whispered around campfires and during late-night gatherings. Cow tipping was no longer seen as a harmless challenge, but as a dare with potentially dire consequences. To this day, the fields at the edge of that town remain untouched at night, the cows left to their peaceful slumber. For the locals know that some rural myths are better left untested, and that disturbing the natural order can awaken things best left asleep in the darkness. Tonight, we delve into the eerie tale of the ankle-slicing car thief. Relax as we explore this unsettling urban legend, where the ordinary meets the unexpected in a chilling encounter. The ankle-slicing car thief, also known as the man under the car, is a chilling urban legend that preys on the fear of being attacked in a vulnerable moment. The story typically begins with a driver who, while on the road, starts hearing strange noises coming from underneath their car. Concerned about the source of the noise, they eventually pull over and step out of the vehicle to investigate. Unbeknownst to them, a car thief is hiding under the car, waiting for this exact moment. As soon as the driver kneels down or bends over to check for the issue, the thief strikes, slicing open the driver's ankles with a knife. Immobilized by pain and unable to move, the driver is left helpless, rolling on the ground in agony. Meanwhile, the thief quickly emerges from under the car, climbs into the driver's seat, and steals the vehicle, leaving the victim stranded and injured. This urban legend plays on a common fear of being ambushed when least expected, particularly in situations where one is isolated and defenseless. The image of a thief lying in wait under a car, prepared to attack with such a brutal method, has been enough to make many people anxious about checking their cars after hearing strange noises. However, like many urban legends, there's no evidence to support that such incidents have actually occurred. Despite its vivid and terrifying details, the story seems to exist purely in the realm of folklore, circulated through word of mouth, email chains, and internet forums over the years. The legend taps into primal fears of vulnerability, blending them with the very real concern of car theft, which makes it a memorable tale for those who hear it. While the ankle-slicing car thief might seem plausible enough to make drivers cautious, it remains just a story, another piece of urban myth that continues to circulate, feeding on the universal fear of being caught off guard in a dangerous situation. In the dead of night, where shadows converge and fear festers, the legend of the clown doll terrorizes those who dare recall it. An eerie twist on the age-old tale of the babysitter and the man upstairs. This sinister story winds its icy fingers around the spine of suburban legend. It began innocuously enough, an ordinary evening with a teenage babysitter named Sophie, tasked with watching two young children in a sprawling old house at the edge of town. The parents had gone out for a rare night on the town, leaving Sophie in charge, the TV the only light flickering against the growing darkness outside. As the night wore on, Sophie put the children to bed and settled into the living room to await the parents' return. It was then she noticed a clown doll sitting in a rocking chair across the room. Its painted face was frozen in a too-wide grin, eyes glassy and unblinking, staring directly at her with an intensity that prickled the back of her neck. She tried to dismiss it as just another odd toy, but its eerie presence filled the room with an oppressive air. Unease twisted into dread when she received a phone call from the children's father, checking in. Mentioning the clown doll to him, she joked nervously about how creepy it was. Silence stretched on the line for a moment before the father's voice, now tense and urgent, pierced the quiet. "Listen to me carefully," he said. "Take the children and go to the neighbour's house immediately. We don't have a clown doll." The line clicked dead as panic surged through Sophie. Seized by terror, she raced upstairs to the children's room, her heart hammering in her chest. Bursting through the door, she found the children sleeping soundly, unaware of the nightmare unfolding. Without a moment to spare, she bundled them up and fled into the night, the cold air biting at her skin. Police arrived at the scene to a gruesome discovery. The doll was no toy, but a murderer dressed as a clown, hidden in plain sight among the children's toys. The house's back door showed signs of forced entry. The intruder had been inside all along, his disguise part of a macabre plan. This harrowing incident spiralled into an urban legend, whispered at sleepovers and retold at Halloween, a cautionary tale of the sinister lurking in unsuspecting places. To this day, the story of the clown doll serves as a chilling reminder that not all is as it seems, and sometimes the true monsters wear the faces of our deepest fears. Deep in the shadowed forests of Bear Creek, North Carolina, lies a patch of barren earth known as the Devil's Tramping Ground. This ominous circle, located near Harper's Crossroads, is a chilling 40-foot ring where no vegetation grows and no animal dares linger. Locals claim it's cursed, a place haunted by the devil himself, who treads this ground nightly in a sinister ritual. For centuries, stories have circulated about the eerie clearing. People say that when midnight falls, the devil rises from the underworld, pacing the circle with dark intent, plotting his next act of evil. His heavy, unseen footsteps scorch the earth, leaving it lifeless, unable to support even the smallest blade of grass. No matter how much time passes, or how often people try to replant it, nothing grows in the devil's circle. Brave souls who have attempted to camp within the ring tell of inexplicable occurrences. They report feelings of dread so intense, it's as if a dark presence stands beside them, watching. Items left inside the circle are mysteriously found outside by morning, as if some unseen force cast them aside, angry at their intrusion. Others claim to hear faint whispers in the night, growing louder until they're forced to flee, their minds unravelling from the chilling sensation of being stalked by something unseen. Locals warn that nothing stays in the devil's tramping ground without consequence. Those who have dared to linger too long, mocking the legend, have reported strange misfortunes afterward. Accidents, illnesses, and haunting nightmares of a dark figure pacing circles around them, his fiery eyes fixed upon their very soul. The devil's tramping ground remains, a barren, haunted scar in the woods of North Carolina. It is a place that repels life, an eternal reminder of an ancient evil lurking beneath the surface. And so, the warning endures. If you find yourself near Bear Creek, steer clear of the circle, for the devil still paces there, leaving his mark on the earth, and perhaps on any soul foolish enough to cross his path. This calming bedtime tale will explore the curious urban legend of the 999 phone charging myth, a story about a phone trick that never quite worked but sparked imaginations. Relax and enjoy. The 999 phone charging myth is a widely circulated urban legend, particularly in the United Kingdom, that claims calling 999, the UK's emergency services number, can magically charge a mobile phone's battery. According to the myth, dialing the number and then immediately hanging up is supposed to give your phone an instant boost of power, effectively extending its battery life. This claim, although entirely false, has been surprisingly persistent, with many people over the years believing or at least wondering if there's some truth to it. While the exact origin of the myth is unclear, it likely began circulating in the early days of mobile phones, when people were still learning the nuances of how these devices worked. Some suggest it may have originated from confusion around how phones access emergency services even when they appear to have no signal or very low battery. This feature, which allows phones to make emergency calls even in unfavorable conditions, may have been misunderstood, leading to the belief that calling 999 somehow recharges the phone. In the age of social media, the myth gained new life. People posted about their experiences trying the trick, and discussions on online forums, blogs, and social networks helped spread the false information further. The myth was particularly appealing because it offered a seemingly quick fix to a common problem: a dying phone battery at an inconvenient time. The reality is that calling 999 does not charge your phone. Mobile phones are powered by batteries that require electrical charging from an external source, like a wall socket, power bank, or USB connection. Emergency numbers like 999, 911, or 112 do not have the capability to transmit any form of electrical charge to a mobile device. The idea that merely making a phone call could restore battery life is not supported by any scientific or technical evidence. In fact, making a phone call when your battery is already low can drain it further, especially if the call is placed to an emergency line. Mobile phones consume more power when trying to connect to emergency services, particularly if the signal is weak. So, far from saving battery life, calling 999 could actually lead to your phone shutting down faster. While the myth may seem harmless, it can have serious consequences. In the UK, calling 999 without a legitimate emergency wastes time and resources for emergency operators and responders. Every unnecessary call diverts attention from real emergencies where lives might be at stake. In extreme cases, repeated hoax calls can result in legal consequences. Intentionally making prank calls to emergency services is a criminal offense in many countries, and those caught misusing these numbers may face fines or even imprisonment. In the UK, making hoax calls to 999 can lead to legal action under the Communications Act 2003. Emergency service organizations, mobile phone companies, and fact-checking websites have repeatedly debunked the 999 phone charging myth. These efforts aim to educate the public about how mobile phones and emergency services really work, in hopes of preventing misuse. In a world where misinformation can spread quickly, it's important to approach such claims with skepticism and rely on credible sources for information. If your phone battery is low, the only way to recharge it is to connect it to a power source. No phone call, emergency or otherwise, will change that. In summary, the 999 phone charging myth is just that, a myth. It's essential to understand how mobile phones function and to avoid making false calls to emergency numbers, ensuring that emergency services remain available for those who truly need them. experts uncover the haunting legend of the Bell Witch, a mysterious entity that terrorized a family in early 19th century Tennessee. Relax and let this eerie tale guide you to restful sleep. The Bell Witch is an enduring folklore legend that originated in Robertson County, Tennessee from 1817 to 1821. The story centers around the Bell family, particularly John Bell Sr., a farmer whose household and nearby community were reportedly terrorized by a mysterious and mostly invisible entity. Unlike typical ghost stories, the Bell Witch was said to be capable of speaking, interacting with the physical environment, and even shape-shifting. According to legend, the haunting began when John Bell Sr. encountered strange phenomena on his property, including unexplained noises such as knocking and scratching and the sighting of bizarre animals. As time went on, the entity became more aggressive, attacking family members by pulling their hair, slapping them, and speaking in a disembodied voice. The witch, as it came to be known, seemed to hold a particular hatred for John Bell Sr. and his daughter Betsy. The Bell Witch's powers reportedly escalated, with the entity predicting events and conversing with visitors to the Bell home. Some accounts even claim that the witch was responsible for John Bell Sr.'s death in 1820, allegedly poisoning him. Over the years, the Bell Witch legend has grown into a widely known ghost story, with many believing it to be one of the most famous hauntings in American history. While the true cause of the events remains a mystery, the story of the Bell Witch continues to capture the imaginations of those fascinated by the paranormal. The legend persists today, with people still visiting the site in Tennessee, where the Bell family once lived, in search of answers to the eerie tale. Tonight, we bring you the amusing tale of the baby train. Relax as we explore this light-hearted urban legend of how a simple train whistle led to an unexpected baby boom. The baby train is a humorous urban legend that tells the story of a small town with an unusually high birth rate, allegedly caused by an early morning train. According to the legend, a train would pass through the town every day at 5 a.m, blowing its whistle loudly and waking up the residents because it was too late to go back to sleep, but still too early to start their day. Many couples would turn to each other and engage in intimate activities to pass the time. This, the story goes, led to a surprising mini baby boom in the town. The charm of the baby train legend lies in a simple, almost innocent explanation for the town's population growth. The idea that a regular and mundane event like a train whistle could influence something as significant as the town's birth adds to the humour and appeal of the story. It's a light-hearted and somewhat plausible tale that could easily be shared at parties over Ultimately, the baby train remains a playful legend, a reminder of how easily a funny story can take on a life of its own, even when it's based on nothing more than a clever idea. While there may not be a real town with a baby boom caused by a train whistle, the legend endures as an example of how myths and tales can blend everyday life with unexpected outcomes. In the shadowed corridors of the uncanny, where art meets the supernatural, there echoes the unsettling legend of the crying boy. This painting, a mass-produced print by the Italian artist, known both as Giovanni Bragolin and Bruno Amadio, has stirred whispers of a curse since it first appeared in the 1950s. The portrait, depicting the tear-streaked face of a young boy with deep, sorrowful eyes, became a common fixture in homes across Europe, initially cherished for its poignant depiction of innocence and grief. Yet, beneath the surface of this seemingly benign artwork, darker forces seemed to lurk. The legend began to take shape in the 1980s, when a series of mysterious fires devastated numerous homes throughout England. Amidst the charred ruins, firefighters made a chilling discovery. While the flames consumed almost everything in their path, the prints of the crying boy survived unscathed. In one house after another, the painting was found amongst the ashes, its glass cover often the only thing left intact. These bizarre occurrences were first reported in a 1985 article in the Sun newspaper, which chronicled the strange phenomenon, igniting widespread fear and superstition. The tale grew more sinister with each telling. It was said that the boy in the painting was a foundling, taken in by Amadio, who discovered the child weeping beside the smouldering ruins of a building that had claimed his parents. Moved by his plight, Amadio captured the boy's eternal sorrow on canvas. However, dark rumours swirled that the artist had exploited the child's curse, for the boy was no ordinary orphan. Legend had it that wherever he resided, fires of unknown origin would inexplicably ignite. As the cursed painting's fame spread, so did accounts of misfortune attributed to it. Owners of the print reported inexplicable series of bad luck, with numerous testimonies of personal tragedies that befell those who displayed the painting in their homes. Some spoke of hearing the soft sobs of a child at night, the cries echoing through hallways, only to find the painting's eyes brimming with tears, as if the boy mourned not only his fate, but also that of those who gazed upon him. Frightened by these tales, many sought to rid themselves of the painting, yet disposing of the crying boy proved no simple task. Stories emerged of the prints being found intact at local dumps, or returning to hang on the walls they had once adorned, despite being thrown away. Others who attempted to burn the painting found tale about the objects we choose to bring into our homes, about the unseen energies they might carry. It warned of the grief that could spill from canvas to reality, a sorrow so profound it seemed to transcend the boundaries of art and enter the realm of the paranormal. Today, the crying boy hangs in the shadowed corners of antique shops, in online auctions, and sometimes, still, on the walls of those who either do not know its story or who defy the curse to court disaster. Whether a true bearer of misfortune or merely a subject of one of the most unsettling urban legends of the 20th century, the painting continues to fascinate and frighten, a testament to the power of art to move, to disturb, and perhaps to curse. Tonight, we dive into the strange and surreal tale of aerial water bomber picking up a scuba diver. Relax as we explore this curious urban legend where the impossible becomes almost believable. The urban legend of the aerial water bomber picking up a scuba diver is a bizarre yet captivating tale that has made its way into popular culture and persists as one of the more outlandish myths in modern folklore. The story claims that an aerial water bomber, often described as either a large airplane or a helicopter equipped with a water scooping mechanism, accidentally scoops up an unsuspecting scuba diver from a body of water, only to later dump them, along with the water, over a wildfire site. According to the legend, the scuba diver is swimming or diving in a lake or reservoir when the water bomber, in an attempt to fill its tanks or bucket to help extinguish a wildfire, unknowingly captures the diver along with the water. The diver is then carried in the tank or bucket high into the air, transported to a burning forest, and dropped with the water onto the blaze. The legend typically ends with firefighters or rescue workers later discovering the charred remains of the unfortunate diver, still wearing their scuba gear, on the ground at the fire site. Some versions of the story include details of the diver's baffled expression or comments from authorities trying to piece together how the individual ended up there. This urban legend is particularly compelling because it combines elements of surprise, mystery, and dark humour, while also invoking themes of human error and the randomness of fate. It's easy to see why such a strange and tragic tale would spread, especially among communities familiar with both wildfires and water-based recreation. The concept of a scuba diver being unwittingly scooped up by a firefighting aircraft seems absurd, yet just plausible enough to intrigue listeners. The myth gained significant traction, in part due to its use as a plot device in movies such as Magnolia and Barney's version, where the bizarre event is depicted or referenced. These portrayals help cement the story in popular culture, allowing it to circulate more widely and persist as an intriguing piece of modern folklore. Despite its enduring appeal, the aerial water bomber picking up a scuba diver myth has been thoroughly debunked. Snopes.com, a well-known urban legend debunking site. Tonight we journey to the misty moors of Cornwall to uncover the legend of the beast of Bodmin Moor. Relax, unwind, and let this mysterious tale help you drift into sleep. The beast of Bodmin Moor is a popular folklore legend from Cornwall, England, centred around sightings of a mysterious, large, black cat-like creature. First reported in 1978, the legend of the beast quickly gained traction as locals began to claim encounters with a phantom panther or leopard-like famous artists lost too soon. Relax, let go, and drift peacefully as the legend unfolds. The 27 Club is an infamous urban legend, suggesting that a disproportionately high number of famous musicians, artists, and celebrities die at the age of 27. This belief stems from the deaths of several well-known figures in music and art, who all tragically passed away at this age. Among them are Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones, iconic guitarist Jimi Hendrix, soulful singer Janis Joplin, punk vocalist Mia Zapata, The Doors frontman Jim Morrison, Nirvana's Kurt Cobain, painter Jean-Michel Basquiat, and most recently, singer-songwriter Amy Winehouse. The idea behind the 27 Club first gained traction in the early 1970s, especially following the deaths of Hendrix, Joplin, and Morrison, who all died within a short span between 1969 and 1971. Their youth, extraordinary talent, and sudden demises at the same age fed into the myth, making it seem like there was a pattern or curse surrounding the number 27. As more artists joined the list over the years, particularly Kurt Cobain in the 1990s and Amy Winehouse in 2011, the legend became more widely accepted in popular culture. However, despite the eerie coincidences, the notion that there is a statistically significant spike in celebrity deaths at age 27 has been debunked numerous times. Several studies have analyzed the ages of musicians' deaths and found no unusual pattern at this specific age. While the deaths of these iconic figures are tragic, they reflect a broader issue of the high pressures and risks that often come with fame, including struggles with substance abuse, mental health issues, and the chaotic lifestyle of the entertainment industry. The 27 Club endures in part because of society's fascination with early death and the romanticization of tortured artists who burn brightly before extinguishing too soon. While it's tempting to believe in a mysterious pattern or curse, the reality is that these talented individuals' deaths were the result of human vulnerabilities rather than supernatural forces or statistical anomalies. In the end, the 27 Club remains more of a myth fueled by coincidence than an actual phenomenon. Tonight, we'll explore the chilling legend of the Beast of Bladenborough, a mysterious creature that once terrorized a small town. Settle in, relax, and let this eerie tale guide you to sleep. The Beast of Bladenborough, also known as the Vampire Beast or Vampire Cat, is an urban legend that originated in Bladenborough, North Carolina, during the winter of 1953 to 54. This eerie tale centers around a series of mysterious animal deaths that left the small town in fear. Over the course of several weeks, numerous pets and livestock were found dead, their bodies reportedly drained of blood, with locals attributing the attacks to an unknown predator. Witnesses described the beast as a large cat-like creature with dark fur, sharp claws, and glowing eyes. Some said it resembled a panther or cougar, while others believed it was something more sinister. The way the animals were killed, found with deep bite marks and their blood allegedly drained, led many to speculate that the creature was vampiric in nature, earning it the nickname Vampire Beast. As the attacks continued, fear spread through the town, and locals organised hunting parties in an attempt to track down the creature. Despite numerous efforts and a rising sense of panic, the beast was never captured or conclusively identified. Tonight we gently explore the captivating legend of Anastasia Romanov's survival. Settle in as we unravel the mystery of the lost Duchess and the hope that lingered for decades. The urban legend of Anastasia Romanov's survival is one of the most enduring and captivating stories of 20th century history. It revolves around the idea that Grand Duchess Anastasia Nikolaevna of Russia, the youngest daughter of Tsar Nicholas II, somehow escaped the tragic fate that befell her family during the Russian Revolution in 1918. While the rest of the Romanov family was believed to have been executed by Bolsheviks, rumours persisted for decades that Anastasia had miraculously survived and disappeared, living under a different identity. The legend began shortly after the Romanov family's execution. On July 17th, 1918, Nicholas II, his wife Alexandra, and their 5 children, including Anastasia, were shot and killed by Bolshevik forces in a basement in Yekaterinburg. Their bodies were taken to a remote forest where they were hastily buried in unmarked graves. When the remains of the family were discovered years later, the bodies of 2 Romanov children were missing, including that of Anastasia. This fueled speculation that Anastasia had somehow survived the massacre. The mystery of Anastasia's fate took on a life of its own, with numerous women over the years coming forward claiming to be the lost Duchess. The most famous of these claimants was Anna Anderson, who emerged in the 1920s in Germany. Anderson insisted that she was Anastasia and that she had survived the execution thanks to the help of a sympathetic guard. According to her story, she had sustained injuries but managed to escape and was taken to safety. Her claims garnered international attention, and while many doubted her authenticity, she also attracted a significant following of people who wanted to believe in the possibility that the Romanov princess had survived. Anna Anderson's story was captivating, especially in an era still reeling from the aftershocks of World War I and the Russian Revolution. The idea that one of the Romanovs had escaped the revolution and was living in secret was an enticing fantasy for many royalists and others who were sympathetic to the Romanov family. However, while Anderson's claim seemed plausible to some, many who knew the Romanovs dismissed her story. Tonight, let's unwind with a chilling yet calming tale: The Babysitter and the Man Upstairs. Relax as we explore this eerie urban legend, perfect for gently drifting into sleep. In a quiet suburban neighbourhood in the 1960s, a teenage girl named Jenny was hired to babysit 2 young children while their parents enjoyed a night out. The house was large, and after putting the children to bed, Jenny settled on the couch to watch TV. The night seemed peaceful, but it wouldn't stay that way for long. After about an hour, the phone rang. Thinking it might be her parents calling to check in, Jenny answered. On the other end of the line was a strange voice, cold and unsettling. "Have you checked the children?" the voice asked before hanging up abruptly. Startled, Jenny assumed it was a prank. She glanced upstairs but dismissed the call as a joke. However, the phone rang again. The same eerie voice repeated the question, "Have you checked the children?" This time, the caller stayed silent a bit longer before hanging up. Fear began to settle in. Jenny looked up the stairs, hesitant to go check, but then tried to shake off the growing unease. A third call came, and the voice was now more forceful. "Why haven't you checked the children?" Jenny, her heart racing, hung up and called the police, explaining the situation. They told her to remain calm and wait while they traced the call. Minutes and soon became one of the most chilling urban legends, a cautionary tale to babysitters everywhere. Always check the children and beware of calls coming from inside the house. We dive into the unsettling tale of the Colander lie detector, a strange and eerie urban legend. Settle in, relax, and let this mysterious story guide you gently into sleep. An eerie urban legend from the 1960s speaks of a chilling interrogation method used by police or army investigators. It began with a crude yet unsettling setup. A colander, typically used for straining pasta, repurposed into a nightmarish piece of equipment. The investigators would place this everyday kitchen item onto the head of a suspect, but its sinister transformation didn't end there. Wires connected the colander to a photocopier, creating the illusion of advanced technology. In a dimly lit interrogation room, the suspect would sit nervously as the investigators loomed over them, watching intently. The tension was palpable, the walls closing in as the suspect was bombarded with questions. The investigators' eyes would dart back and forth between the suspect and the machine, waiting for the first crack in their story. Each time the suspect answered, the photocopier would whir to life, spitting out a fresh sheet of paper. The sound of its mechanical churning filled the room, amplifying the sense of dread. If the answer was deemed acceptable, the machine remained silent, offering a brief respite. But if the investigators found the response suspicious or dishonest, the copier would hiss and clunk, printing a single sheet with a damning message. He's lying. The effect was immediate. Suspects, already frazzled and scared, would crumble under the pressure of the so-called lie detector, convinced that the colander was exposing their every falsehood. They couldn't know that it was all a cruel trick. The investigators manipulated the machine, not through science or technology, but through psychological warfare. The power of suggestion turned the colander and photocopier into terrifying tools, blurring the line between reality and fiction. Some say the interrogators used this method for years, laughing behind closed doors at how easily their victims were broken by the sight of a kitchen utensil on their head. But as with any legend, the line between truth and myth is thin. Stories began to circulate of suspects who couldn't handle the pressure, of minds unravelling as they became trapped in a game where the stakes felt life or death. Whispers of the colander lie detector persist, and while it's easy to dismiss it as a bizarre tale from the past, one can't help but wonder if, somewhere in a dark corner of the world, the machine is still being used, waiting to catch its next victim in its web of fear and deception. Tonight, we explore the mysterious legend of Area 51. Let your mind wander as we delve into the tales of secrecy, government conspiracies, and the question, are we truly alone? Area 51 is one of the most famous and enduring urban legends in modern times, often associated with government secrecy, extraterrestrial life, and mysterious UFO sightings. Officially known as a classified section of the Nevada Test and Training Range, Area 51 is a highly restricted military base located in the remote Nevada desert. While it serves as a testing site for experimental aircraft and weapons, the site has become the centre of countless conspiracy theories over the years, with many believing it holds evidence of extraterrestrial visitors and their advanced technology. The origins of the Area 51 legend date back to the late 1940s and 1950s, a period marked by the rapid development of aviation technology and a growing 71 blackbird, both of which were developed and tested in the area. However, for those who believe in the extraterrestrial connection, these explanations are seen as mere cover stories. Despite the widespread speculation and intrigue, there has never been any concrete evidence to support the idea that Area 51 contains extraterrestrial technology or visitors from other planets. In fact, in 2013, the